Hello and welcome. I'm really excited today. I'm Iris Benrubi, your host, and I have Melissa Kathryn Farley. Welcome.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you on because one, I know you for many years, but I also know that you're a TEDx. You have a TEDx talk, you're a speaker, you're a transformational coach, you work with women on weight loss, on mindset. So I'm really happy to have you on because this series is really about, how do we deal with the mindset that may have people eating, may have people anxious, feeling lonely, all of that? What would you say to, what's shown up in our world right now that has created all these emotions coming up?
Well, what I've been saying and sharing about as well is anything that has been unhealed, any coping mechanisms that you've had that started for you in childhood, if you are a stress eater, if you've turned to food, if in the past, even if you may have gone through a sequence of steps to heal that or shift away from that, it could be coming up right now. And this is an opportunity I see. So the mindset piece first is, instead of going right into what's wrong with me, I can't believe I've backslid, like I'm going back to old ways, or I'm overeating and getting upset with yourself, recognizing there is a pandemic going on. This is unprecedented times. No one can plan for this. I don't even think we fully understand what we're processing each day. And I think that's why the wave, one day you're like, I'm good with quarantine. And the next day you're like, I need to see people, like, I think it's having so much compassion and understanding that this is completely new. We have no idea the impact. We're humans. We're meant to be in connection. And we're not, I think we're also getting an idea of what animals feel like in cages. Like, we need to be able to be out. So one, having that compassion. Two, being a loving observer. So instead of making yourself wrong or thinking that, just recognizing, wow, everything that's coming up for me right now is an opportunity. It's being illuminated because it's ready to go. It's ready to be healed. It's ready for me to address it. And all of the busyness, all of the doing, all of the way in which we've been operating, it's like life is like, no, you want to actually be happier, and you want to live a more fulfilled life, and you want to release the weight, and you want to feel healthy and strong and be, just be happier and grounded. I really think there's been a silent prayer for this in many ways. And now we can view it, I don't think to the extent of the hardships, but just I need to slow down. If I could just have more time for me, if I could have a reprieve from life in some ways, if I just be with those I love most. So really being in that space, and then recognizing what is coming up for me. What is my pattern been with this? Is this a healthy way for me to approach this? And I was sharing, there's really two human emotions, love and fear. And when we're operating from fear, we're filled with anxiety. We're filled with stress. We're living in futuristic terms of what if and shoulds. And we know we're in separation from our highest self because the thoughts that we're thinking and feeling just don't feel good. That's the simplest way to know when you're in alignment and when you're not. And the other is love. And love is, maybe this is all happening for me. What if I'm going to be better after this? What if my life's going to be richer? What if whatever's occurring right now, even I, lost an aunt in COVID. So I understand the loss. Thank you. I understand the loss, and it's still like, okay, well, what is I like to live my life as in there has to be a gift and a greater reason for what's going on. And if I can choose to see that through the eyes of love for myself and for this experience, that will always take me higher. So I can turn any hardship into healing and a gift from that perspective.
Yeah, I like that you address so many pieces on that, because even, talking about the earlier piece, you talked about our childhood, that all this busyness outside of ourselves, the running around, the shopping, the doing, the never-ending to-do list that keeps us from doing the things that we really want, from spending more time with our family, has really been a way to cover those wounds as a coping mechanism but really hasn't given us what we really want.
No, our culture is set up on, you know, we celebrate working long hours and, you know, tiring yourself and exhausting yourself. It's celebrated, you know, to be doing 50 million things. The idea of resting, especially for women, the idea of just receiving support or taking time for yourself, it's like, shouldn't I be doing more? Shouldn't I be doing more? And that's where the need to be on all the things, right? On all the, like, even social media wise, like just noticing where you're spending your time, and where, you know, our culture is set up on fillers. It's going from one thing to the next. It's, you achieve one thing, you never actually acknowledge it. You just are going more. You know, if you're not numbing out listening to one thing, you like, when are we really with ourselves? And I think there's a real fear that I find with women in particular is in, I'm afraid of what I'll find. I'm afraid that if I stop, that's often when we're turning to food to cope. It was a pre-programmed cope mechanism that we learned earlier in life. Remember, most of our beliefs are set up by the age of 5. That's really where we're operating. The subconscious is really stops forming after the age of 8. Women have a distinct shift within their persona of themselves at age 10. And that's when we really start to harshly judge ourselves and our bodies, and start to see our bodies changing and become an outside observer of ourselves. So there's a lot that's happening. And at that stage too, we have not formed a way to be able to go, you know what, that doesn't feel good. Mom, I didn't like that you said that. So I would like for us to have an opportunity to talk it out. You know, instead we're like, our mind's set up for survival, and our mind's going, well, we just know this doesn't feel good. You know what feels good? Instant gratification. When was the last time that we got that? Oh, birthday cake. Oh, the holidays. And then we think of what's the fastest thing that can get us there. And our mind goes right to pasta, or, you know, I'm Italian, so that was mine. So, you know, we go to those things that create that bond of love, which is actually the underlying emotion that many are desiring right now, is a feeling of certainty, control, wanting to feel connected, wanting, maybe there's so much being asked of them right now on a deeper level. If you're homeschooling and then your partner's at home too, and then you're trying to balance work and you're making all these meals, you know, it's like, you might just be like, where is my time?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So for women that are actually facing this, they've got the isolation right here, the boredom, the need for contact, for touching another human being, for, you know, it's one thing to have it on your, you know, let's say FaceTime or on your WhatsApp video, but there's that need to be in an environment with someone else, which is really a basic need. You touched on that, but in the face of not being able
to do alone right now, I totally, yeah. And one of the things, so to answer, I saw that happening for me, right? And I specialize in this. And I was like, what's going on? You know, and it was right after I found out about my aunt, because it happened in about 4 days. And I really wanted to be with my family, you know, and like, it's like, you can't travel. And I'm just like, this just feels awful. And I wanted to hug my mom, and I want, you know, and I saw myself in the kitchen, right? And I saw myself just opening the refrigerator and closing and opening. And I was like, I know. But I saw myself, and I was like, you know what? And I was like, and I started thinking what I wanted to make for dinner. But then I was making a really long list of all these, you know, what in the dieting world, you'd be like, bad foods, right? And I was like, what? Okay, hold on. And I've been doing this a long time, so it wasn't an immediate, but I had to stop myself. So these are the 4 questions that I always teach to ask. I really got clear, and I said, first off, if you're ever just opening the fridge and you don't know what you're hungry for, you're not hungry. You need a distraction. You're bored, you're procrastinating, you need something, but there's an emotional need. And where we have a need, a desire, it will find its way to get its needs met. You will always find a way to meet that need. It's not always healthy, right? And it's not what you actually need, but you will find a way. The mind is set up for survival. So it's going to give you what you need. And often we go off of what we've already taught it. Again, the mind only knows what you've taught it, right? So the mind will go, go back and get the chips, have this chocolate, right? So the 4 questions are, and I caught myself and I said, okay, I know I'm not hungry. Like, I know this. What's going on? And so 1, you identify, are you really hungry? 2, you ask yourself, what's going on in my life right at this moment? For me, I was like, I am sad. I am scared. I want connection. I want to be with my family. My heart hurts, like I was just like, damn, like I could have kept going. Right. And I was like, okay, so am I really hungry? What's going on in my life right now? Is food going to solve my problem? Like it's like maybe immediately I will feel like a little bit of something, but on the flip side of that, I'm still going to feel all of these things until I do something to get out of that, which, if you eat, then it goes into feeling bad about the eating, which then makes you feel and do other things that spirals, right? So it was, am I hungry? What's going on in my life right now? Is food going to serve me or hurt me? What can I do instead? And I was like, what I need to do is cry. What I need to do is acknowledge the loss, right? What I need to do is get in connection. And I need to call my mom, and I need to reach out, and I need to hug myself, and I need to get out of my house and get into nature and remind myself that I am a divine being that is always supported and connected. And like the things that I was needing where I'm at in my life, right? And so those are the things that can do that pattern interruption. Now you might still do those things, and depending on where you are, you might still go for the food, and that's okay. But once we can start to lovingly meet ourselves and go through those questions, we can start to identify what our underlying emotional needs are, so we can start to do that.
And I think that that's a critical piece, because you've identified that in that moment of whatever it is that you're looking for, whether it's food, a glass of wine, shopping, that there's an emotional need, and you've been wired to go for something. If you grew up in a Jewish family, an Italian family, food is always the way to show love. And so it's an old wiring that you have, and you're inviting our viewers to really examine, is that really going to feed that need as much as it does on a literal level, but on an emotional level, is it going to feed that need? And if not, what is it that you really need? If you really need that connection, is it with people? Is it with nature? And you've given us these options to really feed that emotional need in a way that will give you a longer term, a deeper solution. Is that?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, right? Like, we're so afraid that if we actually go in, many women, there's a fear. If I really open up Pandora's box, if I check in and I go to those places, that where I don't really, there's always this, I don't have time for a breakdown. I don't have time. I don't have time to cry. I don't have time for it right now. And it's like, really think about this. If you are talking to your own child, or you've got a baby in your arms and they're crying, what are you going to sit there and just leave them and say, I don't have time for this right now? That's really what's going on inside of you. There's a little girl inside you that never got peace, that never got healed, that's still hurting. And she will keep hurting, and she will keep pulling you out and bringing you back to avenues of self-sabotage, right? I specialize in the different archetypes of self-sabotage, and how women, turn to food and turn to different sabotaging behaviors as a result. And they get so frustrated because they go, I don't know why I want this thing so badly, but I keep getting in my own way. It's because there's a lack of alignment in the belief, 1, that you can have it, but 2, you haven't healed the underlying, and we don't treat ourselves as if there is a little girl in front of us. And I just, like anybody on right now, if your daughter was in front of you, if your goddaughter, your grandchild, if you have a baby in your arms or little girls in front of you, are you going to deny her love? Are you not going to move her body each day? You're not going to take her outside? Are you going to keep her locked in, right? Like, we think about these things like, I don't want to have to exercise. I don't want to have to eat these certain foods. Like, you know, when we eat things that dairy and we know that we have stomach pains from it, but we're like, but I love cheese too much. It's like, well, if that was your child though, would you still feed her that? Like, would you like knowingly put her in pain, or would you say like, we're like, our bodies were one, and really going to those places is what will give you the freedom you desire. And often, so often, the healing that you think, the breakdown, once you actually do it, you're like, oh my God, why was I waiting so long? And the immense joy that I feel and the weight that's lifted and the happiness. And then you see the energy shift and how it actually shifts those around you in such a beautiful way.
Yeah, so I'm hearing a couple things. One, it's noticing the double standard that you may have for yourself versus the people that you love, what you'll give them permission for, but won't give yourself permission for. And the second piece, I just lost it. Let me just find it again. It was, so I put a couple of things together, is that we have an emotional need. We feed it through something else, through shopping, through food, through online shopping now, because we can't do anything else. And so that momentary relief still leaves us with this need. And what I'm hearing from you is when we give ourselves permission to fully feel, to have that breakdown, as much as we say is like, I don't have enough time, I've got too many things on my to-do list, when we can actually fully feel and release, we've actually dealt with the underlying issue.
Yes.
It's not this other boulder that we put in our backpack that we're carrying around all the time, and at the end of the day we're exhausted and we're looking for something to feed us.
Yeah, and when you think about it, absolutely great summary. When you think about a little girl in front of you, I find it just gives so much context, because it's like, would you just keep ignoring your own child and then expect her to thrive? Would you keep just denying her love, time, and affection and expect her to be successful and happy? Right? Would you keep telling her that she's fat or not enough, and then expect that she would lose weight and not turn to food when food's been the only thing that she's ever known that actually is there for her?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, once we start to go there, there's a compassionate lens, and it's like, oh yeah, why do I keep putting myself on diets and telling myself that I should have figured this out by now? Like, who teaches this, right? Like, this is a whole other level. This is not, you know, like, they're not going to go through that stuff in Weight Watchers, and like, you know what I mean? Like, this is that work that, and I hate to say work, it's just being with you. It's getting to know who you are, what you deserve, believing you're enough and worthy of it all now, that you're not broken, that nothing's outside of you.
Yeah, so let's touch on that. You're not broken. Could you expand on that? I mean, it's so easy for women to go there. There's something wrong with me. Everyone else has it figured out. Right?
Oh, I was the queen of that. I mean, this is why I teach it. Oh my God. I was like, I lived in the victim story of like, oh, I'm this way because of this, and everybody else can have it and they must be special and I'm not enough, and some way it's off limits. Things are hard for me. I struggle to have what I want. I mean, you know, and I say victim, and that's very jarring. I usually say it because it is a trigger word, because it gets people angry a bit, but it's also because that's something that they're living in. I know it very well because I did that for a long time. And it's another way of not really just being accountable and going, wait, but I get to have that life. And the biggest thing that I see for women in particular is investing in their brokenness instead of in their wholeness, hiring coaches, doing programs, doing other things. Obviously, I'm a coach. I believe in investing in yourself, but from a place of, I want to enhance what's already incredible about me, come into that alignment and bridge that gap of any part of me that doesn't believe that I'm enough. I want to know that I'm enough now, right? That's why I teach wholeness. Like, it's like, coming back to the truth of who you are before you ever thought you were less than, whether it's due to a number on the scale, a trauma, or anything else in life. And, you know, it is, I think that there's something where we keep going like, no, I need to be fixed. I need to be fixed. And it starts in childhood. It starts with someone putting you on a diet or saying that, oh, if you could get better grades or do this or run faster, and we internalize that and create a story that in some way who we are wasn't enough, and therefore we need to be different. And then our lives continue and we keep looking for supporting evidence to support that story. Right? And yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you and I even met in a coaching program. So obviously we believe in coaching, not just for other people, but for ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. I chose to be a coach over, you know, a nutritionist and have, you know, a hypnotherapist and mindset and specialize in all the things, but like, in a lot of things, but I didn't become a psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist. I'm not poo-pooing it. Because I believe in coaching so much and the proactive nature and the transformation that it provides for people. You know, like I'm very results oriented, goal oriented, as are you in your coaching style, right? And so I absolutely, hands down. It's the notion that so many women believe that they have to figure it out on their own. That it has to be done within themselves and they need more willpower, more discipline if they just would have figured it out. I mean, that cost me a decade of my life, you know, by insisting, and because I was harboring all this shame and guilt that I should have figured it out and I should have been further along. And it's really just in one of the archetypes. I have 4 archetypes that I speak to, and it's really, it's a belief of the perfectionist. That she should have figured it out. She's the controller. Like I've achieved so much in all these areas. Why not this one? What's wrong with me? Oh yeah, me too. You know, but I can't let people see the real me. And that's what also blocks them from healing and really getting the results and having the success that they desire in all areas. Like the true, like, happiness and peace. Because when you're a perfectionist, no matter how much success you have, it's never enough. You don't even know why. You're just judging yourself as, but I'm not perfect. And there's really no definition of perfect. Everyone has a different idea of what that's supposed to look like.
And I was going to add that, you know, we add all those layers of self-criticism. So what do? We hide ourselves behind some kind of armor. We never really show who we are, which means we're not being really authentic, and we're not able to live our life loving who we are. I mean, it's interesting because I probably about 7 months ago now, I got hired to go up into Northern Ontario in an Indigenous community, and I'm creating an addiction recovery and treatment program. Thank you. I'm so blessed to be able to do this, but because we can't fly up anymore due to the isolation, so they've asked us to create some videos that we're putting up on a private Facebook page. The one that I shot just before we got on the call a couple hours ago was, what do children need from their parents? And as children, we're born innocent, but then we have life that happens to us, some of it on purpose, some not on purpose, and we're just so inundated with messages of how we don't measure up. You know, our older brother can ride a 2-wheel bike, but we can't, or a parent gets, you know, short of patience and says something, and all we can do as a child is interpret, there must be something wrong with me. And so our job as parents is to really see that beauty, that light, those gifts those children have, and feed it to them. And that's what I'm hearing what you're saying, Melissa, is that our job with ourselves is to feed us the great stuff.
I mean, we have to mate with our own soul. That's what a soulmate is. You know, that's what that is intended for. In my belief is within yourself. It's like, how can you achieve what you desire when you're always making yourself wrong, right? And I know I lived there a very long time. Again, it's why I specialize in this area. But you know, it's something that we all know, but we don't do it. You know, we like know it, love you, hear you, you know, be that for you. But how many women wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and just go, God, you're beautiful. Like, and tell ourselves the things that we wish were said to us, right? When we're operating from being broken, then, and especially, you know, I shared with you the perfectionist as one of the archetypes that I speak to often, is she learns to wear many masks. She can morph herself. She's got the mask that she wears that's always happy, slapping a smile on it. Nothing's ever wrong. I'm fine. I'm good. No, I'm happy. It's great. Life is great. It's so good. Everything looks amazing from the outside. She's got it all together. You know, she's this, she's that. And inside she's suffering, right? And she's not really herself because she never really learned who she is, because she never gave herself that permission. And she was always lining up with believing that she needed to be somebody else in these different roles that she was playing. And it's that deficiency, that part of you, that that many of us subscribe to, and like I did, you know, that is like, oh, I'm broken. And if I was just like this person, if I just had the body, when I just get the weight off, when I just have the man, when I just make the money, when I just have this many followers, when I get my business here, when I have kids, if I could just, it's like, when are you just at peace? And I think that's something that we all at this time, we are given that gift to find that now within ourselves and to clear all the parts of us that believe that we're not enough, and start to go, I see you, right? And check in with ourselves and go, I see you. What do you need from me? You know, I teach women to, you know, go through a series of, a breathwork practitioner and I love to share with your community, just breathing deep in for 5 through your nose. Suspend your breath. So it's a 5, 5, and 5. Suspend your breath for 5. Exhale out of your mouth slowly for 5. So we inhale for 5. We suspend for 5 to calm the central nervous system, to access our subconscious, get the conscious mind out. And after we do this in about 5 to 10 successions, begin just taking your pointer finger and your middle finger and tap on your heart, hand on heart, right? Tapping, hand on belly, connecting into the body, fully out of the mind, and asking yourself, the part of me that believes that, what is it that you need from me? What do you need to know from me? What do you need to feel? What can I do for you? Guys, there's nothing that you're suffering from, nothing that you desire in your heart. If you have a desire, it's meant for you. It's already on its way in manifest form. The only thing that might be delaying it from showing up in physical form in front of you is the misbelief that you actually don't deserve it. And any desire, like dreams, anything you have, they're significant to you. Your innate talents and gifts are significant to you. That's why they're yours. We don't want you to be anybody else. We just want you to be you. So we want to check in, and your soul you will never have a question or something that you desire in life that your soul doesn't have an answer to. We just have to take a moment to access it and then listen. Like actually listen. I'm not hearing anything. I'm not hearing anything. I can't do this whole connecting thing, right? Like that's where the perfectionist wants to go right away. And it's actually it's because you're relieving yourself of that inner torment. So now your actual ego is kind of freaking out, which is why it's saying, you know, what's going on, it's not working, it wants to take you out, right? So it's really just checking in with that.
All right. So Melissa, for people who want to know more about you and everything that you're teaching, where can they find out more?
Yeah, absolutely. You can go to Melissa Kathryn. So my business is all under Melissa Kathryn. Melissa Kathryn, Kathryn. It's a unique little spelling there that my mother gave me. And the other is I have my podcast, Wholeness. So Wholeness with Melissa Kathryn. And we also have an online, free Facebook group, Wholeness with Melissa Kathryn. For additional support. So we've got a lot of free goodies online, anything that can help you. And you've got YouTube, all the things, like we've got videos galore. You can just binge away.
Beautiful. That's quite the word for you to be using with weight loss. Binge away, but binge away on
Binge away on me. Binge away on healthy, good things. Yes.
All right. So we're going to edit the video. We're going to put your websites at the bottom. So Melissa, if there was one thing you would hope our viewers take away from today's call, what would that be?
The number one thing is you're not broken. You're not broken. You are a divine being of the Most High, regardless of what your religious affiliations are. And there is nothing that you desire that isn't meant for you. There, you are always supported. You are always protected. You are like loved beyond measure. And it's really just shifting to that belief that you are whole now and you get to have it all. And it gets to be easy.
I'm going to repeat just the last piece. You get to have it all and it gets to be easy.
Yeah. It's your divine right. It's your birthright.
And with that, Melissa, I want to say thank you for your time. Thank you for everything that you've shared and the difference that you make in the world.
Oh my, well, Iris, I want to say the same to you. This is so amazing. Thank you for asking me to be on here, and what you're doing and is so beautiful and it's so needed. So yeah, this is incredible, and much gratitude to you.
Thank you.